Hi, Dave Hurwitz here at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk about a wonderful reissue that I came across recently that took me right back to my youth when the period instrument movement was new and fresh and exciting, and it wasn't as obnoxious as it later became. And here it is, Harnoncourt's Bach Magnificat paired with the Handel Utrecht Te Deum. What a great record this was. I mean, I have to say, the Bach Magnificat is my favorite Bach choral work. Why? Because it does everything a Bach choral work is supposed to do, but gets it over with in less than half an hour. You can't beat that. I mean, I know the B minor Mass is grander and more imposing, and the St. Matthew Passion is more gut-wrenching, and the Christmas Oratorio is more, well, Christmassy, I guess. But the Magnificat has an absolutely beautiful selection of arias and choruses and gets through it with such dispatch. It just is wonderful and joyous, and it's brilliant and exciting to sing. Now, this performance too really is one that sold me on the whole period instrument thing because it's brilliantly played and absolutely wonderfully sung. I don't think the opening of the Magnificat, let's put it this way. I mean, we sang this when I was in like high school glee club. We tried. It didn't go very well. You know, you can do it faster than Harnoncourt does, like Gardner, for example. But it sounds like the chorus is gargling, and they're going, Magnificat. It's impossible, I can't do it. And most of the time, neither can they. And they try to do it anyway, and it just winds up sounding silly. I think Harnoncourt gets the tempi just right in the opening chorus, in the all generations things that rolls on the way it's supposed to roll on. It's just beautiful. And the soloists are great. Who are the soloists here? Hildegard Heichele and Paul Eswood is the alto, and Kurt Equeles is the bass, and Robert Hall, we have another bass, the Vienna Boys Choir, and the chorus Viennensis, whatever that is. It doesn't matter. It sounds terrific. And now the Handel Utrecht Te Deum makes a wonderful coupling. The reason is because, Handel's Dettingen, the Dettingen, thank you, the Dettingen Te Deum, which he wrote later, is bigger and splashier. And that's the one that became famous because it's very militant and trumpet and drummy. The Utrecht Te Deum is a little bit more intimate, but it's no less celebratory, and it makes the perfect pairing to the Magnificat as a way of sort of showing the difference between the two composers, because they do have some similarities. I mean, the Magnificat has 12 short little numbers, and the Te Deum has 13 short little numbers. But there's a big difference that tells us a lot about how music history was going to develop, because the Bach Magnificat is organized around his soloists, around the arias, whereas the Handel Utrecht Te Deum is organized around the choruses, with the solos emerging from or participating with the the chorus in the texts. So you can already see how Handel was beginning to develop his unique affinity for choral music and the expression of choral music, as well as public music. Whereas for all its celebratory splendor, Bach's inspiration was basically intimate and personal, where in Handel's, not that Handel couldn't do it and Bach couldn't do the other, the great composers do everything, I know. But what I'm talking about in terms of generalities is the fact that in the Magnificat you have Bach, the aria composer par excellence, with some brilliant choruses, and in the Utrecht Te Deum you have Handel, the choral composer par excellence, with some solos, and you have great performances of both. And that is the point. So if you're looking around, it really was a surprise, because when this first came out, it vanished, domestically rather rapidly, and then it sort of reappeared. Remember, there was a Harnoncourt edition, and this was one of the volumes in it. These discs were made when Harnoncourt and Leonhardt were in the middle of their epic Bach cantata traversal. Remember that? Something that actually they took the care to spend decades working on, whereas nowadays people toss them out in like 15 minutes for all 200 cantatas. It's unbelievable. So having this back is just a wonderful, wonderful way to not only recall the freshness and joy that the period instrument movement brought to this repertoire, but also to acquire what I think is one of the most recommendable versions of the Bach Magnificat and the Handel Utrecht Te Deum that you can get. I mean, it's just a great disc. So I recommend it to you accordingly. Thank you, and keep on listening.